Yesterday we gapped above that 274 and a quarter. We spiked right down there in the open to 275. Didn't even realize that 11 o'clock we retested. We spiked down there again. But basically, it was the SPYs were a non-event yesterday. It was kind of just gap above prior resistance and stay in a tight range just above. If you think about this in terms of percentage terms, and basically the SPY spent almost the entire day in a 50-cent range, which is about 20 basis points, 20% of a fifth of 1%. So that's a pretty tight range. So the volatility compression continues. This morning we were above 275, spiked down into here. So, we'll see. Have an alert at 274 and a half, 274.30. See if this continues to hold. It would be interesting if we actually just, maybe took out the pre-market high, didn't go up much, and just stayed between 274 and 276 for a few days, and then set us up for a break at the end of the week where we could maybe buy some cheap options on Friday out of the money calls or something like that. On IWM, so we kind of highlighted this, was it 164.40 or so. I guess that failed. You can kind of see. And so we kind of were looking at the prior days, important ranges from the prior 3 or 4 days. We failed right there on the open. We went down to the support area. You can kind of see the wick here on the 30-minute. We got back above it. On the next 30-minute bar, we held it. Went back up to the resistance, actually closed above. And the pre-market were right there. So we'll watch today to see if we can actually hold above this on the open. All right, so NAV, considering how good the EPS was and the fact that they raised revenue going forward, I'm surprised that it's, initially I guess it did go up to 42, but it's below 40 now. It's a thinner stock. Normally trades 500,000 shares, but when it's in play, it tends to do about 3 million. You go back to mid-April, it had 2 out of 3 days where it traded 3 million and then 3.6 million. So the volume should spike up today decently. Here's the daily. So we had this gap up day here. We're gap to 41. They spiked it to 42.80 before crushing it and closing it below 40. And the recent high was 40.70. It came off. So a couple weeks ago, it was up here at 41, and they crushed it over the next week down to 37. So if it fails here at 40, again, based on the headlines and the guidance, I want to look to see if it actually gets hit on the open and starts to hold above 40 for a move to here. But if it's holding below $40, I put that on as inflection on the sheet. If this is the first kind of support area right here from yesterday, and then below that, it's I put 37.50, but it's like really the 37.30s. I'm just going to play it off of what it does off of this, this 40. If it spikes on the open, about 40 long, if it consolidates up here, look for the continuation. Spikes up and fails. I'll watch to see if it stays above 40 or not. So right now they're on the conference call and it's 39.60 bid, and it's just looking at the prints. It's traded 17,000 shares at 39.96. So clearly somebody's willing to sell it up there at 40. Amgen. So Amgen, as we know, this is going to be a biotech. Tons of biotechs were moving yesterday. These guys, competitive drug, might be harmed. Coming into that, what has it done? It's been trending up for a few weeks, so you have to deal with that issue. I read some comments that basically said this was already baked into the numbers, this information. So that kind of caught my attention. What that means is baked into the numbers means people were anticipating that. So you know how yesterday that blue was like 72 in the pre-market and bounced to like 200 on the open and then came off it by $10? So when some stuff gaps down in the pre-market, now in this case it's not down nearly as much, it's only down a couple percent. But sometimes when you get these big gap downs in the market near recent support areas, and people were anticipating the news that seems negative, you get those pop backs. It is in an uptrend channel. So what do we have for support? Okay, so our first support is this. Where it broke out from a couple of days ago. And then below that is this. Unfortunately, we don't have enough volume to draw any conclusions. But people who bought in this breakout here above 185.5. If we're lucky, it'll get below that on the open, and some of those people will panic. They'll push it down into this area right here. If it's going to blow the news off, it's going to come back up to this 183, and it might fail there for a few minutes or something, come down a little bit, but it'll then bust through there and just go right back up to above 183.40. Excuse me, 184.40. It can be a difficult stock to trade. It was difficult when it was a $50 stock. It's it's much higher than a $50 stock now, so you want to be careful. But if you get that flush into here, it probably gets bought. And then actually, if it starts trading immediately, like up above 183 on the open, you could see like a blue type situation. Not as big as a move as blue yesterday morning, but certainly right up to this resistance area. So Twitter, I mean, my first thought when I saw it last night, it was up at 39.70, 40, whatever, was just shorted. I'm getting added to the S&P. It's got a lot of momentum though. Let's look at the 30-minute. So we consolidated for a while. They were buying it in 32 for like a couple of weeks here. It broke out above 34, came back down, did a retest of the breakout here. So let's see, it was $35 a couple of days ago, 40. It's a big move from 35 to 40 in a couple of days for Twitter. So first thing I would look at would be like a failure in this area here. It doesn't have to go all the way back down to 37. Although I think we traded Twitter like a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, and we shorted it. Then it came off like right on the open, $2 overshot to the downside. I think it was Twitter. Maybe I'm thinking of a different name, but a failure of 40, I would look to see what it does into here, right here, and then if it actually got through this and started to hold below, then you could play for the gap fill. But certainly, shorting into this here. If it started to hold above 40.10, I would just maybe flip my bias. It depends on the time that it happens. If it was right on the open, or it actually was consolidating before a breakout. Also, you can obviously see my positions on the in real time. Next one is WTW, which normally on a upgrade, I don't put things on the sheet, but this did become a momentum stock in the last year since Oprah got involved. We don't have too many momentum stocks these days. For those of you who are newer to the call, momentum names are names that both momentum hedge funds and momentum traders, and there's some pretty big momentum traders, they're their own little hedge funds. But they can just push things much further than you expect, and they have certain types of trading patterns, which you'll hear me discuss in the coming weeks and months as more of these names have news. But anyway, on an upgrade, you can kind of see it had broken out a couple of weeks ago above $78, went up to 83. Kind of made a lower high here, and they crushed it back down to 75. So let's see, what did it do? So coming into this news or this upgrade, it crushed here, came back up to kind of where it broke down from, and then they had the second wave. Looks like it was working its way back. It was going to work its way back up to 81.5, 82 anyway. They got a jump start with the upgrade. So I would say any type of a little bit of a flush on the open, 80.60 or lower, I would look for bids to step in. If it came to here, this would be really good. And see if it can go right back to kind of where this started from. Wait. Okay, Win's the second day. So we're talking about second days now. So Win got hit yesterday. I didn't really read what the news was. I did see that it was getting hammered yesterday. So most of it happened right on the open, then it just consolidated at the lows. So 92 to 82, never bounced above 83. So follow through, 81.50. Just want to see where we are here. So last time it got hammered from the low 190s, it bottomed at 79.80. There's a lot of air. So basically, if it was either way, like it closed near the low, so first thing you would look at is a short below the yesterday's low. And if actually buyers stepped in and the first move was up above 84 and then it came back down and stayed above 83, then I would look for a larger retracement. So it's definitely a good candidate for second day play. Next one is NKTR, is another one that got crushed. Let me zoom in for you on this one. So NKTR gave it a shot here, I think at 53 to 54. It bounced back up to 55, sold some, then got stopped out of the rest below, I think it was below 52.70, maybe I had my stop. It went down to like 51.60. And I did have alerts. I was actually on the desk here, so I could have bought this reversal. I had an alert at 52.5. It went off, and I did not buy it on that break of that 52.50, and I didn't actually throw in a bid to buy it here. It did go up $3, so it wasn't that bad of a reversal. But then when it consolidated and broke back down below 54, it came all the way back down and took out the low. So that was pretty clean too. This might be one of those, like, if you look at the Baidu chart when you get a chance, it got hammered for a few days, some momentum people got caught. It's a very different situation, but if you look at it, it spent like a week consolidating before it had a good bounce. That was the analogy I was trying to draw. So, I mean, certainly you can continue to look at it. I put on 51 and 52 on the sheet. This here. And then 55. 56. So it may just be like we continue to play this area right here for a couple of days. Something if it does something unexpected, like it drives up into here and then the pullback is shallow and takes that out, then you can look for the larger move back to where it started from at 60. FSLR. So So we're almost 9:15, so I'm going to wrap it up here. FSLR is another one that got crushed yesterday. Here's the 30-minute on it. It's already gapping down, which is unfortunate, but if it does like fail to bounce above 60 and then start to hold below, there could be some more downside on this one. Let me go to the daily just so you can kind of see what it's done over the last 6 months. So it was in a really good uptrend, broke out. It actually gapped above the high here on this day here at 52. I tried to short it at like 54 this day and it kept on going. So a lot of people obviously were able to get out yesterday. But if it gets below, well, it is gapping below here. It's gapping below 60. So then you got all these people trapped. The question really is, do they flush it all the way back down to this low from?
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.